his job promotion and Jim was saying, I go, Chris, look, they did a great job. It's like, don't say that. Ours is big, it's 22,000 square feet, but it's the way around. We're picking up big things and picking up. I have to go to college. You'll need you. Please don't do that to my son.
Oh my goodness.
Is that better, Karen?
How's it going, everyone?
Great.
Awesome.
Hello?
Hi, Timber.
Can't hear you,
Good.
Timber.
Hello?
You gotta talk louder.
I'm here. Are you being funny?
You just barely hear you.
Well, I can barely hear any of you guys either.
Couldn't hear what you said.
You can't hear me, really?
I can hear you fine, Timber. Don't let him tease you.
Oh,
Wait,
God, I hate him. I'm just glad he's on time.
I've
He's
been here
this
for,
is twice in a row. It's pretty good.
I thought that was a 4:30 meeting.
Yeah. Are we ready?
Madam Clerk, do we have everyone?
Where are my glasses? Uh-oh, I don't have my glasses.
Here.
Don't see Scott.
Madam Clerk, do we have everyone?
Oh, hi, Stephen. Yes, I
Hi there.
believe we do.
All righty. Well, with that being said, we will call this meeting to order at 6:32 p.m. here. Madam Clerk, if you could please call the roll.
Juan Crooks,
Here.
Benedetti, oh. Benedetti,
Present.
Cabawatan,
Present.
LaFever,
Present.
Pate,
Here.
Perugi,
Unmuted.
Ruji's virtually here.
Rizeppa,
Here.
quorum present, Mayor Rizeppa.
Great, thank you very much. So we will again call the meeting to order here at 6:32 p.m. Public hearing in regards to the fiscal year 2021 budget. Before we did open it up, I did have a letter I wanted to read for all of council and for all the public here as well, just to kind of give some background frame of reference here for us. So we began the process for this upcoming year's budget around 3 or 4 months ago, which now feels like it was about 3 or 4 years ago. And boy, could nobody have really predicted how things would have gone and changed since then for the matter. At the beginning of the budget process every year, the mayor and administration meet with each department head and go through all budgetary requests, needs, et cetera, and talk about the operational changes, staffing levels, potential issues, differences from the prior budget, and things of that nature. When we started this process, we were looking at a budget deficit of nearly $2 million right out of the gate with our overall operating budget of $1 million. This deficit didn't happen overnight, and it wasn't caused by any kind of reckless spending or too much fat or anything. Over the last 2 decades, we've seen major declines in real dollars in terms of state shared revenue, and our property tax revenues have not rebounded to anywhere near the levels from before the housing market collapsed over a decade ago. We've continued to provide an excellent level of service to our residents with a roughly 30% reduction in full-time staff in the last decade. We had an uphill battle to climb, but we got there. We were able to put together a balanced budget through cuts to discretionary spending in every department, getting creative with each department, a change in our MERS amortization schedule that still gets us to 100% funding levels at the same date, and perhaps just as importantly, did so without eliminating any full-time jobs, without increasing taxes on our residents, and only using a small amount of fund balance compared to years prior. Things weren't as great as I'd like them to be, but we were going to get through it. The day we held our last budget meeting with department heads was also the day that we received word of the first positive coronavirus case in Trenton. This completely turned everything upside down. Even 2.5 months later, we still don't know when things will be totally normal again. We unquestionably be dealing with the impacts of this, of the pandemic from both a public health and economic standpoint for a long time to come. And even to this day, nobody knows what will be allowed when, what crowd sizes we'll be able to have, what activities we can guarantee, and things like that. What we unfortunately do know is that we're going to see a huge hit on the revenue side of this budget to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Funding from the state will drop. We'll get less money from the decreases in sales tax revenue that the state distributes, and we will see increases in property tax delinquencies with so many business closures and job losses. All this being said, and with all the unknowns we still face, we are still legally required by our charter to pass a budget by the second meeting in May. I think it goes without saying that this will probably be the most amended budget we've ever had. I'm going to have our controller provide budget updates at least one meeting per month, where we can get updated projections, revamped estimates, and make amendments as needed. I think it's also important throughout all this to remember what this budget is and what this budget is not. What it is a framework for our spending for the year, but what it is not is something that sets specific policy more often than not. That is still our job as mayor and as council to decide those things. For example, recreation programming is still all included in the budget, but we know it's going to look much different than normal with more virtual offerings, likely smaller classes, and our rec department's already doing a great job at working on creative ways to be able to get that done. On the other hand, this budget does not currently budget for operating the pool this summer. This sucks. I get it, and I really feel it and have felt it every day for a while now. But over the last week and a half too, I've done some digging and have yet to find a single public pool in Michigan that is slated to open this year. Oakland County has already announced that they won't be opening any other pools this year. The city of Ann Arbor has announced the same. All the metro parks are still up in the air. And even over the last Friday and even up to this morning, Scott and I were checking with various other cities downriver and on a conference call I was on across Wayne County. Nobody else has indicated that they have plans to open their pools this summer yet either. With executive orders coming out every day, we could see one tomorrow that says that no pools are going to be opening this summer, or we could get one that says that, hey, we can get ready to open in a month. But there's so much unknown, and especially with the overall health concerns and ability to sanitize all the facilities, and the economic hit we face when the pool generally already operates at a $250,000 loss per year. I've spoken to Joanne in the rec department though, and we're going to definitely keep an eye on this situation as new orders and guidelines come out to see if there are any wiggle room for potential in this future, whether we have the opportunity to open later in a limited capacity. But again, it would have to be in a way that is both safe and sound financially. There are plenty of other examples like this between a temporary freeze on hiring full-time employees, when we can open up Westfield for larger events and senior activities again, and things like that. The situation is totally fluid, and really nothing is set in stone. This is just our best guess at this point of what we're looking at over the next few months. This is a document we're going to continue to evaluate, reevaluate, and evaluate some more as a council when we can make changes that make sense for our residents, again, with public health, both mental and physical, and sound financial choices at the forefront of all of this. I really can't stress enough how not fun this process has been. I'd really never want to be in the position we were handed, where we have to talk about what we can't do and what we have to take away from the budget rather than what we can do and what we can add to our community. But we have to do what we can to get through this to make sure we're keeping everyone safe, we're protecting services for our community for future budgets, and ensuring we don't eliminate any jobs that we need to keep things running around town. I really want to thank everyone in our administration for all their hard work, their sacrifices, and all the frustrations they've had to endure throughout this process. If I had a blank slate, I could promise you that it would never have involved budget meetings done exclusively via Zoom, with the looming devastation of a global pandemic to boot. Hopefully we can avoid these for the next go around. I want to thank all the council for all their work on this, fighting through all these unknowns, coming up with so many great suggestions to both add things to our community and to save money at the same time, and dealing with so many of the unprecedented hurdles that we could have never imagined. And lastly, I want to thank all the residents for understanding and for fighting through this with us together. It's been a huge struggle. It's required a lot of adapting to different norms, and I'm sure we'll continue to do so. But I do feel that our community would be able to come out stronger and closer because of it, and because we did it together. So I just wanted to lead in and preface everything with that. I know that now we will open up to the public for comments on the proposed budget. If you are able to, on the bottom, there's a participants little button there where you can raise your hand, and Madam Clerk will be monitoring that, and we'll be able to call on people as needed here. So we will.
And Mayor, before we go to public comment, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to read the public notice that was posted on our city website and on our cable channel.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. City of Trenton public hearing, proposed city budget. A virtual public hearing will be held by the City Council via Zoom meeting at 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday, May 26, 2020, on the adoption of the proposed city budget for the fiscal year 2020 through 2021. The property tax millage rate proposed to be levied to support the proposed budget will be a subject of this hearing. A regular meeting will be virtually held by the City Council immediately following the budget hearing via Zoom meeting on Tuesday, May 26, 2020, to consider formal adoption of the 2020-2021 fiscal year budget. The proposed budget is available for viewing on the city website at www.trentonmi.org. The budget is also available for review on boarddocs.com as part of the April 13th, 2020 City of Trenton agenda. Copies of the Trenton proposed budget and the 3 preceding fiscal budgets will be on file in the Trenton City Clerk's office from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and the City Library by appointment only due to the COVID-19 state of emergency for examination by interested citizens and taxpayers. For more information, please call the City Clerk's office at 734-675-8600. And I did want to let you know also, I did receive an email that I forwarded to everybody on council, the mayor and the council. And this email was a letter from Linda Kell and on behalf of the Trenton Recreation Commission. And I believe Linda is participating in this meeting. So I don't know if you want to call on her to kind of give an overview of the letter that she presented.
Sure. Yeah. If she wanted to, that's certainly fine by me. I'm not sure. Yeah. It's I don't know that I'm able to see who's got hands up, so I'll trust you on that one, Madam Clerk. But yeah, if she's the first one, that's good to go with me.
Okay.
That's great with me. Are we good now or?
Yes.
Great. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I just wrote a letter that I submitted to the council and the mayor on Friday morning. And I'm not going to read the letter, but I just want to let you know this letter is not only just from the Recreation Commission, but I'm also speaking from my 29 years in education. Currently, I work at Wayne Reese as leadership development consultant, so I work with all 33 of our school districts in the county and our 106 charter schools. And through that job, I've also been trained by the Michigan ACE initiative, which ACE is Adverse Childhood Experiences. So what we do is look at the experiences that children have had from ages 0 to 18, and they do affect the structure and function of their brain really for the rest of their life. So through this work, we've been working with a lot of schools, individual schools, teachers, administrators, and I just wanted to share with the council and all on this call that what I've seen over the past 12 weeks is a severe decline in really the emotional health of not only the students, but our educators and our administrators in our county. And I'm sure that's the same of our residents. And it's not something maybe that's new to everyone hearing this, but we're keeping good track of the physical health piece of this pandemic, and it's real. But I don't think we're keeping a lot of data, and if it's really even evident right now, on the emotional health of everybody. And so it's really easy for us right now to, it's hard because we're asked to social distance and not be together, but we're social beings, and just seeing a smile has an effect on our brain and our psyche. So when we think about this thing, I thought a social worker summed it up the best about a week ago and said, through this pandemic, every single human being has suffered some sort of grief or loss. And it might not be the loss of a human, but the loss of something. And it's easy when you look at social media and on news stories, to put it into specific boxes or containers, like the seniors have lost something or our senior citizens have lost something. But you have to think every single person, maybe you were the junior that just made the baseball team at the high school and thought you'd be a starting pitcher. That person's suffering too. So when we start talking about this emotional health, one big way to combat toxic stress and the effects on our brain is through building relationships and resilient strategies. And really the best way to build resilient strategies is one-on-one relationships. And so when we think of our recreational programs, and I want to, number one, say from being in education 29 years, Scott, thank you. Stephen, thank you. Our city council, thank you, because creating a budget that's balanced is like squeezing water from a rock. It's been like that for many years. And this year it's even worse. So I appreciate everything you've done. And I know that you're not making decisions haphazardly. I know you're thinking things through, but as you're looking at programming, I just ask that you really think of, the price of the emotional health of our residents. We have an awesome, recreation staff, let them be creative. And I know you're not, putting programming on the block, but the more we can have to support the emotional health of our community, the better off we'll be. And I also want to say our SNAP program, the parents and the educators that deal with our special needs students, they're really hurting in many ways. Those students they have this trust built up. School is so important to them. The parents have school as a respite. It's not that they don't love their children, but it gives them a chance to breathe, have a break, and they watch their children flourish when they go into these situations. So I know SNAP looks like a huge hurdle, to jump because, what do you do and how do you social distance children with special needs? But it's just another thing that, it's not just essential for those kids, but also for the parents and that emotional health. So thanks so much for your work and what you've done. And, the Recreation Commission really does support you. And we just want to let you know, as you look at your budget, and if anything comes up, funding appears out of a magic hat, anything you can do to help the emotional health of our residents would be great.
Thank you very much, Ms. Keller. I really do appreciate it. And obviously, yeah, your letter was quite thoughtful. And yeah, I would have to say I agree with you 100%. I know it might feel a little hollow, but I guess the one thing I just did want to stress is that, yeah, I mean, if there is things that change, it could change tomorrow. It might not be for another month or something like that. But I mean, yeah, none of this is going to be set in stone. If they say that, we can start having Westfield open up for graduation parties come July, then yeah, absolutely. We're going to find a way to do that and continue to look. And I think I had a long talk with Joanne. They've got a lot of creative opportunities in the works. And I really do feel confident in that, and certainly appreciate you and all the Recreation Commission for your work on this. And you're definitely going to be a key part of it to be able to make it work. It's going to look probably a lot different than it's ever had to. But I think that, yeah, like for all the reasons you said, these programs are important, and particularly the ideas behind them, because yeah, even through all this, we still have to take care of ourselves.
Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, did we have any other hands raised?
No, I do not see any hands raised. If you don't mind, I will go ahead and unmute everybody for a moment, just in case they're not able to raise their hand.
That's
Be a little noisy here.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing no others.
Hey.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So if there is any others, I don't know if we had any
Yeah.
from the,
Oh, it looks like there might be one person. Is Joe Reedy?
3295 Patton Street. What's the deal with the pool? I can't, I got two phones going and a computer. Is the pool going to be open this year, do you think?
so yeah, no, it's no problem, Joe. So what, I guess I had read a letter at the beginning, and I'll read it again during our regular council meeting here too. So this budget does not include the budgeting for the opening of the pool, but really it's kind of understanding too that this budget doesn't necessarily set that policy. This is just sort of the spending framework. So as it stands right now, no, but if there is, an opportunity based on, executive orders, different public health recommendations to do so, we've already talked with our rec department about they're going to keep tabs on things to see if there is more leeway for that in the future. But right now, we've yet to find a single public pool that is going to be guaranteed to be open this year, which is disappointing. There's no question. It's very difficult for us to have to deal with too.
How about the library?
It's going to be open, but that's just a matter of when we can reopen it, based on the executive orders. But yeah, the library is going to be budgeted just the same as normal.
The pool's huge. I work with Marathon Petroleum, the refinery. Work with like 50 Trenton High School graduates. All make between 125, 150,000, and they're looking at other cities, with better recreational opportunities. So you better put that in your pipe and smoke it. My sister from Grosse Ile's texted me right now. And if Water's Edge is open and Kennedy Pool is not, we're moving to Grosse Ile. So you got to put that in your pipe and see what comes out. We got Eagle Scouts, 1721, Troop 1721. Every kid becomes an Eagle, and they're looking to move. And I'm trying to get them in Trenton, but the pool's got to be there.
Yeah.
125,000 to 150,000 annual salary. That's what everyone makes, and you're going to lose it.
So just for the record too, for frame of reference, this doesn't shutter the pool. This is just budgeted to not open based on guidelines this year. It's still budgeted actually because of the carryover of the fiscal year. It still would be opening as normal and carrying on next year, barring any sort of crazy changes in the science behind any of this.
I'm going to ask my sister about Water's Edge this year. You're going to miss us when we're gone. I'm telling you. You're going to miss all those Eagle Scouts. So you guys got to consider that. But I've said my piece. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Reedy. Appreciate it.
Okay, I do not see any other hands raised.
All right. Seeing no further hands, would entertain a motion to adjourn from the council and then to begin our regular meeting at 7.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
It has been moved and supported. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Benedetti,
Yes.
Cabawatton,
Yes.
LaFever,
Yes.
Pate,
Yes.
Perugi,
Yes.
Rizeppa,
Yes.
Von Crooks. Hang on, let me see if she's muted.
Yes, I said yes.
Okay, thank you, Timber. Motion carries, Mayor Rezeppa.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all very much, and we'll see you on the 7 o'clock meeting here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.